July 2006, Haifa, Israel. A Hezbollah Katyusha rocket is fired from Lebanon. The Israeli Air Force tracks it. The Israeli army knows it's coming. Every radar on the northern border is lit up, and Israel does nothing, because Israel has no way to stop it. By the end of that war, one fact was undeniable. Israel, a country that had built nuclear reactors, that had launched satellites, that had some of the most advanced military technology on Earth, was completely helpless against a cheap 30-year-old rocket that cost $500 to make. So a general walked into a meeting and said 4 words that everyone else thought were insane. "We can shoot them down." Welcome back to Grand Structures. This is the story of the Iron Dome, the weapon that America said was technically impossible, that the US refused to fund, that a single Israeli engineer spent 5 years of his life betting everything on, and that in one night in 2012 changed modern warfare forever. To understand why the Iron Dome was so hard to build, you first need to understand the specific problem it had to solve. And it is a problem that no country in the world had ever solved before, because no country had ever needed to. Israel is tiny, not small country tiny. It is 470 kilometers long and at its narrowest point, just 15 kilometers wide. Standing on the wrong beach, you can see enemy territory. The entire country, north to south, is smaller than Lake Michigan. Now here is the problem. Hezbollah, and later Hamas, had thousands of short-range rockets. These were not precision weapons. They were not ballistic missiles. They were unguided artillery rockets, cheap ones, the kind you can buy the components for at a hardware store if you know what you're doing. And here was the cruel math of the situation. The most advanced missile defense system that existed, the American Patriot, cost $3 million per intercept. $3 million to stop a $500 pipe bomb falling from the sky. You would bankrupt the country trying to defend it. But the Patriot had another even bigger problem. It was designed to kill Scud ballistic missiles, weapons that fly high and fast in a smooth, predictable arc. The Katyusha doesn't do that. It tumbles, it wobbles, it is aerodynamically chaotic. The Patriot's guidance systems simply could not lock on to something that unpredictable.
So after 2006, Israel faced a nightmare. Millions of civilians within range of tens of thousands of unguided rockets, and no weapon on Earth that could stop them. And the American defense establishment, the most powerful in the world, said officially, plainly that building one was not feasible. They were wrong. But it would take one man with an obsession, 5 years, and a very unusual idea about how radar works to prove it. Meet Brigadier General Daniel Gold. In 2004, 2 years before the Lebanon War, he was head of the Research and Development Division of the Israeli Defense Forces, and he had a theory. Gold's theory was this: the reason no one had built a short-range rocket defense is that everyone was trying to solve the wrong problem. They were trying to build a missile that could chase down a tumbling rocket and physically collide with it. That's nearly impossible. Katyushas are small, fast, and chaotic. Gold's insight was, don't aim for the rocket, aim for where the rocket is going to be. And to do that, you need a completely new kind of radar, one that doesn't just track where a rocket is, but can calculate its trajectory in real time, in less than a second, and determine whether it's going to hit anything worth protecting. This single idea, selective intercept, was the economic breakthrough that made the whole system possible. You don't fire a $50,000 interceptor at every rocket. You fire it only at the rockets heading for populated areas. The ones aimed at empty fields, let them land. This is the idea that solved the cost problem. Gold took this concept to the IDF leadership. They were skeptical. He took it to the government. More skepticism. He took it to Rafael Advanced Defense Systems, Israel's state-owned weapons developer. They were cautiously interested. But then came the wall, the United States. Because Israel doesn't fund these projects alone, they rely heavily on American military aid. And the US DoD evaluated the Iron Dome concept and released a formal assessment. The conclusion was brutal. The system was not a cost-effective solution, and the technology was not mature enough. Translation: we don't think it will work, and we're not paying for it. Gold later said, "I had to fight like a lion." He was not exaggerating. For 2 years, he fought his own military bureaucracy, the government's budget office, and American skepticism simultaneously. He was told repeatedly that he was wasting everyone's time. And then 2006 happened, and everything changed overnight.
After the 2006 war, Gold got his funding, not from America. Israel funded the development itself, $210 million. In the world of defense programs, that is an almost laughably small budget. The F-35 program costs $400 billion. The Iron Dome was built for less than the price of a luxury hotel in Manhattan. They had a target: 4 years to operational deployment. In the defense industry, that is a sprint. Let me break down what they actually built, because this is where the engineering gets genuinely extraordinary. Component 1, the EL/M2084 radar. This is the brain. It is an active electronically scanned array radar, AESA, that can simultaneously track over 200 targets within a 100-kilometer range. But the revolutionary part is the software. This radar doesn't just track rockets. It calculates in under 4 seconds from launch detection the exact ground impact point of every incoming threat. The system then runs every predicted impact point against a map of populated areas, critical infrastructure, military assets, in real time, automatically. In the time it takes you to read this sentence, the Iron Dome has tracked a threat, plotted its trajectory, decided whether to engage, calculated the optimal intercept point, and handed the decision to the Battle Management System. Component 2, the Battle Management and Weapons Control System, BMC. This is where the humans sit. 3 operators, 3 screens, and a decision: shoot or don't shoot. But here's the thing. In most engagements, the system has already made the recommendation before the operators even look up. The humans are a safeguard, not the primary decision maker. Component 3, the Tamir interceptor missile. This is where the genius truly lives. The Tamir is not like other missiles. Most interceptors are massive. They have to be to carry a large warhead that destroys the target on impact. The Tamir is tiny. It's only 3 meters long, 160 millimeters wide, and it weighs just 90 kilograms. It doesn't need a big warhead because it doesn't aim to collide with the rocket. It aims to explode near it. The Tamir detonates within lethal range and shreds the incoming rocket with a fragmentation warhead, like a shotgun blast at close range. No need for a direct hit, you just need to get close enough. But getting close enough to a tumbling, wobbling Katyusha at 300 meters per second is still one of the hardest engineering problems ever solved. The Tamir has small fins at the back and a unique set of larger X-shaped fins at the front, giving it extreme maneuverability at the very last second. It can pull 20 G turns. A fighter pilot would black out at 9 G. This missile turns itself inside out in the final seconds of flight. Yes, the intercept still costs more than the rocket, but here's the economics that actually matter. One Tamir missile saving a factory, a hospital, a school, a neighborhood saves millions of dollars in damage and, more importantly, saves lives. The cost comparison that matters isn't $50,000 versus $500. It's $50,000 versus the cost of rebuilding a city. By 2008, Raphael had a prototype, and then came the hardest part, the tests. Because in the Israeli defense procurement system, a weapon doesn't get deployed until it has been tested in conditions as close to reality as possible. And reality, in Israel's case, is very unforgiving. The first tests were mixed. The radar worked, the command software worked, the Tamir missile worked. But getting all 3 to work together seamlessly in the chaotic conditions of a real barrage, multiple rockets, different trajectories, different speeds, fired from different directions simultaneously, that was a different problem entirely. The political pressure was enormous. Critics in the Knesset, Israel's parliament, were openly calling the Iron Dome a money pit, a fantasy. Israel is wasting hundreds of millions of dollars on science fiction, while our soldiers need better equipment, they said. The program came within one bad budget vote of being canceled twice.
And then the Americans changed their minds. In 2010, after watching the test results improve dramatically, the United States reversed its position and agreed to co-fund the Iron Dome. Congress approved $205 million in emergency supplemental funding. The same system they had called unfeasible 4 years earlier, they were now paying to build. Gold's gamble was paying off, and in March 2011, 2 batteries were declared operational and deployed to protect the cities of Beersheba and Ashkelon. Everyone hoped they wouldn't be needed. They were needed within weeks. November 2012, Operation Pillar of Defense. Hamas fires its largest rocket barrage in history at Israeli cities, over 1,500 rockets in 8 days. The world's press, military analysts, and defense ministries around the globe watched what happened next. For the first time in history, a city was watching its own protection happen in real time, above its head. Tel Aviv residents stood on rooftops to watch, not in fear, in something closer to disbelief. The Iron Dome was intercepting rockets over their heads, and the explosions were happening in the sky, not on the ground. The numbers were staggering. 90% intercept rate against real rockets, fired in anger, in unpredictable salvos, in all weather conditions. Not a test range, not a simulation, real combat against an enemy actively trying to overwhelm the system by firing in clusters. The US military, which had called it unfeasible, sent a delegation to study the results. NATO commanders flew to Israel, South Korea, India, Azerbaijan, Romania. Every country that had a missile threat suddenly wanted to know everything about this system. But the most important number wasn't the intercept rate. It was this. In the 2006 Lebanon war, without Iron Dome, 44 Israeli civilians died. In the 2012 operation, with Iron Dome active against a larger and more sustained barrage, 6 Israeli civilians died. The system didn't just intercept rockets, it intercepts funerals. But the Iron Dome has sparked a debate that no one expected. Is it too good, and does that make it dangerous? Here's the argument. Before the Iron Dome, Israel had a powerful incentive to negotiate. Every rocket that landed was pressure on the government, on the public, on the economy. Peace was expensive to avoid. But now, with Iron Dome, the cost of a rocket war has dropped significantly for Israel. Critics argued that it removes the urgency to seek a political solution because the pain of conflict is being absorbed by a machine. It's a fascinating and uncomfortable idea, a defensive weapon that might extend a conflict precisely because it works. The better your shield, the less reason you have to put down the sword. Supporters counter, every rocket Iron Dome stops is a dead civilian that didn't happen. Every hospital that didn't get hit is a patient that survived. Defense saves lives regardless of politics. The two conversations, military strategy and civilian protection, don't have to be the same conversation. Both sides have a point, and both sides will be arguing about this for decades. The Iron Dome changed warfare in a way that almost no single weapon has since the nuclear bomb. Not because it destroys things, but because it stops them from being destroyed. It is the first weapon in history designed to make itself unnecessary. Every time it works, it is proving that engineering can sometimes outrun the impulse to destroy. Daniel Gold, the man who fought like a lion to build it, was awarded the Israel Defense Prize in 2012, the same prize given to the engineers of Israel's nuclear program, of the Merkava tank, of the Iron Beam laser. He belongs in that company.